Well, Kyle, I got some real juicy lore for you today. Some stuff that has really recently impacted me. Before we dive into that, though, I want to go take another shot. You want to get more fucked up?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be honest, guys. I feel like I'm too sober for this show right now. I'm like a Gobcast level of intoxicated. And, I mean, this is not where I need to be for Crackheads. Well, yeah, okay, yesterday was different, dude. We had... Oh, my God, dude. Ugh. I'm not even going to say what we had yesterday. I'll be right back, though. No thoughts in the studio. I am feeling much better now.
After 18 minutes of intoxication.
You're feeling good?
Yep.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, Kyle, listen, I got to fill you in on my conspiracy for the week. And I'm going to be honest, we have pretty different conspiracies. Yours is like very based in facts with some proof. I definitely still have some facts, but mine is really a gut feeling. This is a personal one for me, you know? And before I share my conspiracy, let me explain why I chose this conspiracy for this week. So, as you're aware, and maybe many of you watching are aware, yesterday, November 12th, 2025, Congress officially passed the 2026 spending bill, ending the government shutdown. And at the very end of that voting process, a senator named Mitch McConnell, who is pretty notorious, snuck an amendment into the 2026 spending bill, which effectively bans the entire hemp industry. Full spectrum CBD, Delta 8, the whole shebang. My brand effectively just got diagnosed with a terminal disease that lasts for a year before I die, right? What the amendment specifically stated was it changed the definition of federally legal hemp. Up until now, the 2018 Farm Bill said that any product or product with more than 0.3% Delta 9 by weight was federally considered and illegal, right? It was regulated differently, which allowed brands like my own, Only Gas, to exist. It allows brands like our sponsor, 5, to exist. It allows CBD vendors to exist, right? An amendment was snuck in that changes that wording to 0.4% of total cannabinoid content, total content per container, right? Which, in effect, bans pretty much every single product on the hemp market right now. If you order from my website, if you walk into a smoke shop and you see CBD or other products on the shelf, all of that got banned with the literal snap of a finger, right? The reason that this amendment was snuck into the 2026 spending bill is because a couple months prior to now, it was originally added to the 2026 Farm Bill and shot down pretty quickly. It did not make it very far. It never got passed because the hemp industry, the industry, the Delta 8 industry, the CBD industry has exploded into a $30 billion industry that employs over 300,000 people in our country alone, right? It is a massive industry providing literally hundreds of thousands of jobs, right? Now, you might wonder, Kyle, why would the government want to ban that big of an industry and eliminate that many hundreds of thousands of jobs? Well, let me tell you why. Because big tobacco and big alcohol, the two main opponents to the industry that I operate in, hate us because we're costing them money. And my conspiracy today is a very important one, Kyle. You see, I personally believe that synthetic, right, such as Spice or K2 or TP or even Delta 8, which a lot of you are wondering, what do you mean Delta 8 synthetic? I'll explain briefly in just a moment. All of those questionable, sketchy, illegitimate products, I believe, are manufactured by pharmaceutical giants to help illegitimize the medical industry and the recreational and the entire movement to hinder our progress, right? Think about this for a minute. Why would a company go out of their way to choose to create these gas station, which politicians are so harshly pursuing, right? Think about, P or O, which are two synthetic. Think about even before those came along, Spice or K2. Who is manufacturing those products? Who has the most incentive to manufacture those products? As someone like myself who owns a brand in the industry, who employs people in this industry, I will tell you right now from my own knowledge, synthetic products make up a very, very small market share of the hemp industry. Very small. Any operator who is entering the hemp industry has very little incentive to manufacture a synthetic product, right? Because as it stands right now, natural products are very cheap to make, and it is cheaper to make synthetic ones, but you would have to do extreme volumes, selling tens of thousands of bags, if not hundreds of thousands of bags per month, to see a real difference in your margins manufacturing synthetic versus natural products, right? So any logical person who is entering the hemp space that wants to go into the business is more than likely to just choose to produce a THCA product or a natural product because it's so affordable already, and you avoid the negative perception of being a gas station product, being a gas station, right? Now, I don't just say this because I believe like, oh, dude, I have a hunch, I think, right? Let me tell you something pretty crazy. As early as a decade ago, in 2016, major American pharmaceutical companies were publicly admitting to funding anti-cannabis movements due to a quote-unquote fear of losing shareholder value and market share to companies. Let me pull up this article right here. Now, this article is almost a decade old, so I want you to just think about this for a second. If pharmaceutical companies were already sharing this sentiment 10 years ago, where do you think they're at now as the hemp industry has directly impacted their profits and exploded into a $30 billion industry, right?
Right.
Read this real quick. Let me scroll down real quick. Recently, we saw the first direct evidence of pharmaceutical companies now working to defeat legalization efforts, acknowledging that their intent is to protect their market in synthetic. Because, I mean, really think about it for a second. A pain patient going and instead of choosing to get an prescription or getting a prescription or whatever they may get,
right,
choosing to go buy CBD, full spectrum CBD to relieve their pain is directly costing pharmaceutical companies money. Earlier this month, and by this month, I mean September of 2016, Insys Therapeutics Incorporated, an Arizona-based company, donated $500,000 to a group calling itself Arizonans for Responsible Policy, a newly formed organization established to try to defeat Prop 205, the legalization vote that will appear on the ballot this November in the state. Now, we all know that nowadays Arizona has legal, so this didn't succeed, obviously. However, this is the first documented evidence of a pharma company directly spending money to go against legal, right? Insys currently markets just one single product called Subsys, a sublingual spray, a synthetic far more potent than quote unquote. Insys Therapeutics made $62 million in net revenue on Subsys sales in the first quarter of this year, Kyle. Net revenue. The net revenue is pure profit. Gross revenue is before any deductions. Net, like, dude, they literally made and pocketed $62 million in one single quarter, right? Representing 100% of the company's earnings, because that's the only product they sell. According to the Washington Post, that is. The CDC has implicated in a surge of overdose deaths in several states in recent years. This company is directly killing American citizens and making $60 million a quarter doing it, right? Survey data compiled from medical patients shows that subjects often reduce their use of prescription, particularly when they have legal access to. So that right there is proof that this industry is directly impacting big pharma, right?
Right.
Now, Insys, the company that makes this spray, has recently come under scrutiny of law enforcement. According to the Washington Post, a number of states are currently investigating Insys for illegally paying physicians to prescribe their in situations in which it was inappropriate. Illinois Attorney General Lisa Madigan filed a lawsuit against the company, claiming the company's desire for increased profits led to a disregard for patients' health and pushing addictive to non-FDA approved purposes, right? Now, what I've told you so far, correct me if I'm wrong, is pretty fucked up, right? Mm-hmm. It's pretty fucked up. That is actually the more tame part of this article, Kyle. You see, here's the real smoking gun. When the company first made its $500,000 contribution to the group opposing the Arizona legalization initiative, the largest single contribution to the group by a factor of 4, The second biggest donor donated less than $200,000. They donated $500,000 alone. The company claimed that its reason for opposing the voter initiative was, quote unquote, because it fails to protect the safety of Arizona's citizens and particularly its children. But a lesser known fact is whenever a company is publicly lobbying for a certain cause, they are legally required to file a disclosure statement with the SEC, right? The big dogs, the feds, want to know their true intents. And if you lie on those intents, it can cost you your entire company. So generally, big corporations don't play around on these filings. They will tell the truth. They might lie to the public, but they will tell the truth to the SEC. And in their SEC filing, they acknowledged to shareholders that they were making the donation because they feared a decline in sales of its powerful product and that of a second new they're also developing, dronabinol, a synthetic. Synthetic is a blanket term for an artificial version of the active compound in we all know, intended to alleviate chemotherapy-caused nausea and vomiting. The company concedes, that the scientific literature has confirmed the benefits of natural over synthetic products. So this company not only manufactures, but they're now directly creating a synthetic product and then spending millions of dollars lobbying against natural products. Why would they do that? Obviously, because they're making a synthetic product. Now, this is a very rare instance of a publication of a big pharma company doing this. Most big pharma companies have learned from this and have kind of shushed up a little bit, you know? They're not going to start doing shit like this until the hemp ban fully takes effect. Quote unquote, legalization of or non-synthetic in the United States could significantly limit the commercial success of any dronabinol product candidate, and dronabinol being the synthetic that they're manufacturing. If or non-synthetic were legalized in the U.S., the market for our product would likely be significantly reduced, and our ability to generate revenue and our business prospects would be materially adversely affected. The Arizona Republic, which is a news publication, reported that the company, while public claiming to have kids' best interests in mind, is clearly more concerned with ways to protect their own bottom line. And the company has great reason for that fear. Recently published studies have found that states that provide for legal use of medical had a 25% decline in prescriptions. And mind you, this was 9 years ago, Kyle. I think it's safe to say that percentage has likely increased with the legalization of recreational use, right?
Right.
Another recent study from Columbia University found that the implementation of medical programs is associated with a decrease in the prevalence of detected among fatally injured drivers. That's an insane stat. They are testing people who die in car accidents at random and finding that on average, those individuals have less in their system when they are in legal states, right? That is a completely random sampling. It's not like they're only testing users with prescriptions or they're only testing smokers. They're literally testing random people who die in car accidents and finding that data, which is unbelievably powerful. Imagine if they actually tested people with prescriptions or former prescriptions.
Right.
That data would be much more damning. And that's based on a majorly huge review of 69,000 vehicle fatalities in 18 states. And this is published by the American Journal of Public Health. Definitively, it says that where legal is legal, people use far fewer, right? So here we have direct proof that a pharmaceutical giant is spending money to lobby against legal while manufacturing their own synthetic products. Now, another part of this that is honestly super, super damning, and this is me speaking more from industry experience. Like I said earlier, synthetic products are just not much cheaper than selling real products. The cost of buying, let's say, 1,000 grams of like real distillate is not very different than buying Delta 8 distillate. And an important thing to mention here, right? A lot of these gas station, as they're called, contain Delta 8 as one of the main ingredients. Delta 8 is paraded by a lot of questionable vendors as an all-natural product and an all-natural chemical that is found naturally in the plant. The interesting thing about Delta 8 is that it is found in such trace amounts naturally in that it's effectively near impossible to naturally extract it. These brands that are making Delta 8 products are synthesizing it in labs and then putting it into their gummies or their carts or whatever they may put it into, and then calling it natural because, hey, it's found naturally in the plant, right? It's the same thing as, are you familiar with 7 and
Mm-hmm.
7? Same thing. All these brands are always like, dude, it's found naturally, but it's actually a trace chemical in natural. It's not like an active major component in your experience when you take leaf. It's synthesized 9 out of 10 times, and that's being like generous to the manufacturers, right? Also, these synthetic products represent a significantly smaller market share than natural products. So when you think about it, let's say hypothetically, Kyle, you made a new brand in the hemp industry today. Would you rather pursue making synthetic products, which cost maybe 20% less to manufacture, in exchange for having a far larger than 20% less market share, like a way smaller market share? Would you rather just go natural and just manufacture a profitable product with no negative public perception?
Yeah.
I think the answer is pretty straightforward there. Am I right?
Yeah.
You know? It makes no sense to manufacture these synthetic gas station products unless you are a pharmaceutical giant that is going out of their way to illegitimize the entire legal industry. And this is bigger than just hemp. This is the whole industry. Now, here is what is, in my opinion, the real smoking gun. You see, back in 2018, during Donald Trump's first term of presidency, Mitch McConnell was one of the leading forces behind the 2018 Farm Bill. The 2018 Farm Bill is the bill that directly defined hemp as being less than 0.3% Delta-9 by weight. The bill that effectively legalized my brand, Five's brand, and every other hemp brand on the market, right? Now, thanks to the way our government works, we are able to publicly see how much money everyone spends on lobbying politicians, right?
Mm-hmm.
In my personal opinion, lobbying politicians shouldn't even be legal.
Right.
Because you are just directly paying a politician to vote a certain way for your benefit, right?
Yeah.
But let me tell you something absolutely unbelievable, okay? This is just, mind you, alcohol, pharmaceuticals, and tobacco all want hemp banned because we eat into all three industries' profits. Do you want to know something crazy, Kyle? How much money do you think Mitch McConnell got to slip this ban into the spending bill? Mitch alone. How much? Like, if you had to guess, how much money do you think the beer, wine, and liquor, the alcohol lobby alone paid him?
100 mil?
Okay, you're kind of smoking dick, actually. It's way less than that. $100 million is crazy, dude.
Oh, really?
That's like how much, dude, your concept of money is fucked up, dude. This guy moves to LA and $100 million is pocket change, dude. That's kind of crazy. But let me tell you, Kyle. Mitch McConnell, who is the champion of this amendment to the 2026 spending bill, alone received $889,000 in lobbying money from big alcohol alone. This number does not factor in tobacco. This number does not factor in pharmaceutical. This is solely the alcohol industry. Now, who is effectively the co-author of this amendment? Who is sponsoring this amendment and championing it publicly? Chuck Schumer. How much did Chuck Schumer get in alcohol lobbying money, Kyle? $976,952, Kyle.
Wow.
These two guys collectively cashed out almost $2 million alone from alcohol alone. And you mean to tell me that this amendment was submitted in genuine good faith, even though Mitch McConnell, the senator who initially championed the legalization of hemp, is the one who submitted this amendment? Why would he change his mind 6 years later? Do you think it's because he genuinely believed in changing his mind, or do you think it was the $900,000 that did it, Kyle?
Probably $900,000.
I think you're pretty on the money with that, dude. So now we've been put into a situation where we have 364 days at the time of recording right now to fight this. The problem is this amendment, the banning of hemp, the redefining of what, makes legal hemp, has been pushed through the government or attempted to push through multiple times before. Every year, our government does what's called the Farm Bill, and it just dictates like what our farmers do. 2018 Farm Bill is what legalized this entire industry. In the 2026 Farm Bill that they were voting on this year, they tried to slip this same amendment in, and it got shot down. It got smoked. It didn't even come close to passing. So now they're employing these dirty, dirty tricks and sliding it into the 2026 spending bill during a time where we are at the second longest government shutdown in American history, where there is immense pressure to reopen the government. I'm going to tell you right now, Mitch McConnell is enjoying a nice luxury dinner at Nobu right now. On the tobacco company's dime. Yeah. And meanwhile, we have to sit here and fight for our rights, not because any politicians genuinely believe we shouldn't have those rights, but simply because tobacco and alcohol and pharmaceutical companies have more money to spend than we do.
Yeah.
That's fucked up. So my personal belief is all these sketchy gas station products that fundamentally make no sense to manufacture from a brand owner standpoint are almost undercover CIA agents in a sense, in the sense that it's really big pharma and big tobacco manufacturing these sketchy products to then show them to the government and be like, look, dude, kids are overdosing on this shit. And it's not that at all. It's not that at all, Kyle. It is extremely fucked up. I'll tell you one thing right now, okay? This past week has shown me that the American government is fucked up. The American government is a horrible entity that this is a bipartisan thing. Regardless of where you vote, where you align, the American government does not have your interest. They have the interest of their greatest bank account, okay? Their greatest donor is who they fight for. It's not you. It's not me. It's not any of us. It is their biggest donor. That's what they fight for. So you know what? Next time you go to a gas station, if you see a synthetic product on the shelf, slap it off the shelf and leave, you know? And with that being said, I'm pissed the fuck off and I'm taking my hat off because I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off. I spoke my truth just now, and I'm pissed the fuck off, dude. Kyle, I'm pissed the fuck off, dude.
Yeah.
Yes. Shot. Yeah. Shot. No. Shot. Cut. Shot.